Hey everybody, Andy here, helping you build a career you love. Today we're going to be talking about resumes. Who doesn't love putting their resume together? So we got a lot of firepower in the house. I'm here, Harley and Ginger are here. I noticed my mother is in the house, and my guess is, since it's 11 a.m., Dad is probably in the kitchen running around already prepping for dinner for tonight. And my wife, Linda, would be here, but since I give all this stuff in my business away for free, she's had to go to work and make some money so we can support this house. But have we got a great one? All LaCivita's got a great one for you today on resume writing. So if you're here with me live, get in the chat, say hi, let me know who you are, where you're from, what you do, what you need. Put some question marks in front of your questions. If you are in any of my programs, please let me know with your hashtag if you're a leader or a boot camper or in my mini camps or whatever. We're gonna rock this one today. So great to see everybody. Would love to say hi. LaDeuce, what's up? Guy, Tony P from Dunedin, Kurt, Dave, Kevin, Atunga, Taya. Oh my God, Mary Jazz and all, Suzanne, everybody, great to have you. All right, what's today about? Well, I am not going to insult my community with resume blunders and mistakes and tips like, you know, make sure to spell check this thing and watch your periods and your semicolons. You deserve more than that, and I'm going to bring more than that. And I probably could have talked to you today or titled this talk, really 5 ways to turn your resume into a marketing document. And I want to ask you right away, get in, and after you've said hello, I want you to tell me what the biggest issue is that you have with writing your resume. And then hopefully I'll cover some of that during the live show, as well as in the Q&A. If you're here with me live, I'll be happy to point you to some free resources and maybe answer or comment more on any of your issues. But I do want to see that. So please let me know right away what those issues are. I'm going to get into my first point. I know we're on a delay, and this first point that I want to make, I want to call this point 0, because when you get this thing wrong, when you get this first point wrong, so we're not even into the tips I want to give you or the blunders and how to correct them, but when you get this first piece wrong, it's the domino that makes all the other bad dominoes fall, and everything goes the wrong way if you get this mindset wrong. Okay, you've heard me say it before. I think I need to make a coffee mug on this one too. But point 0, you think your resume is a work history document. Repeat after me, your resume is not a work history document. It's a marketing document. It markets you. It is not a document that tells somebody everything you've done in your life. It is a document that goes out into the world that entices somebody to buy you, basically. Okay? So who's with me? Who's with me so far? Who knows this Andyism, right? Your resume's not a work history document, it's a marketing document. And when you get this in order, everything falls into place. You think about what you write on your resume completely differently. Okay, so let me actually see if I could pull up some of these. I always get a little nervous when I pull up the comments here. Oh, look at this. We got Deb Lemmy Show, DFP Dana, Daryl D. Look at all those boot camp and oh my goodness, and another boot camper right there. Hardest thing is remembering the exact data. We got a career achievements journal for that. Biggest issue is highlighting my evidence and proof. Daryl, that's a great one. I'm going up the chat. Dana, knowing if my bullets are strong enough, look senior enough, or more junior level. Oh, we got something for you today, Dana. Deb, what do you got there? Still trying to figure out my bread and butter. I love it. You're carrying over from last week. Changing industries, functions. Okay, so I get that changing, knowing whether you're hitting the right mark. All of these things are phenomenal points. All right, so let's get into the talk here. Once you understand that your resume is a marketing vehicle, there's a concept about building your product if you own a business or if you run a services company, whatever it is, that you want to attract the kind of customer that you want. And the companies for you today, or the companies are your customers, right? And so one of the things that I see that really harms your ability to do that, the first thing is there is a level of congruence that needs to be in place with your resume. And your resume, in this little congruent concatenation here that I'm going to show you, is not the first thing that you prepare. You don't just sit down and think about, well, what is it that I've done in my career? That's the wrong question to ask yourself. And I think a lot of you do that. You might not explicitly ask yourself that question, but the way you write your resume is as if you asked yourself that question. Instead of looking at how the resume fits into the overall scheme of what it is that you want to accomplish, which is getting a great job with a great company, a company that fits you, and a company where you can add a great deal of value so that you can contribute, make an impact, and thrive. And what I notice, and we talked about this in the last 3 weeks, I've been on a rampage about this, right? Between recorded shows and live shows we've been doing. Your story is out of sync. And I tried to put this card down a couple of different ways. Maybe you could take a screenshot or just keep looping this. But there's what I want, right? What is it that you want? Where do you want to go? Your resume is a marketing document for where you want to go based on who you are or who you want to be, okay? And then how you can help somebody is what you offer. And then you need to show them some evidence of how you did it before so that they trust you. You do all this with me. Every time I talk to you, I think of this storyline, this storyboard. So what is it that I need? You hear me talk about getting your needs in order. Where do you want to go? What do you want to change to? Why do you want to do that? There's an element of who. Let me give you an example about a who. I'm a career coach, right? There's lots of career coaches. I'm running a business. I want to create an environment that, and who I am has to do with who I am to you, but also how I am to you. So I'm a career coach that I don't just put videos up, shove them off there and out into the world and say, please buy my product. Career coaches do that. No, part of who I am, just an element and just an example, is I want to be a career coach that's completely present. I want to be there for them. I want them to get to know me and learn from me in a live format, and I want to learn from them that way as well. That's part of who I am. Now, it doesn't mean other career coaches that don't do that are not effective career coaches. It just is a part of the who I want to be. And also, so career coach and then elements of being a career coach. Same kind of thing for you. There's characteristics that go along with you. Okay, there's what you offer. Now, I had a session, I think it was last week, where I talked in a live stream, live office hours, about a big job search mistake that you're making. And what I said is, it's not about what you can do, it's about what you're selling today. Right? I can do a lot of things. Most of you have not really seen my best skills. You see some skills from me the way I offer them to you. Same kind of thing for you. What is it that you offer? And then evidence of the fact. So when you look at, is your resume setting you up to attract, not just find, but attract the kind of companies you want that would need the kind of things that you offer and give you an opportunity to, in an interview, share how you did it before, how you would do it for them, kind of thing. So there's a major out of sync issue. I talked about this in the video about the job searching mistake, so you might want to check that out. I also talked about this in the video that I did, that I released recently, about how to find your job faster. Okay, so that's the first major mistake. It's taking me a long time in a lot of my coaching sessions and in my resume reviews to actually ascertain what is it that this person actually does. Okay, so make sure that what you do and what you're representing is in sync with what you want and where you want to go. That's the first issue. The second issue is when you are articulating who you are or what you're about, you're not doing it fast enough. So who you are and your primary, and I think Deb mentioned this, the bread and butter skill needs to hit me in the head without me, like with my eyes closed. I should be able to see it and remember it. Actually remember that it's important that they remember who you are. They make an association. Right. You know, if for those of you that have read Interview Intervention, and you've probably heard the expression that I had in the book about, you know, they won't remember what you said, but they'll remember how you made them feel. They also remember you using usually 2 nouns or 2 adjectives, right? She was detailed and organized, right? When you think about somebody, oh, she's the tall redhead, he's the short bald guy, kind of, not to pick on the men, you know what I mean, right? Like, they do that. You need them to understand what it is that you do instantaneously. I'm not talking about a 5-second resume review. I'm talking about, is it crystal clear what you offer and how we would benefit by having you? That we need a senior project manager of some ilk, right? Does this come through very fast? I also talked about this last week and the week before with that video about how to find your job faster, as well as a big mistake that you're making. So it's not very apparent. This permeates not just in the search itself and the way in which you introduce yourself in interviews, but it also makes it more difficult for somebody who's looking at your resume to understand what it is that you do. Okay, these are really, really prominent mistakes that I'm seeing in many people's resumes. Okay, but it's not just the resume, right? It's how you introduce yourself, and it also carries your inability to distill down what you do and what you're about, permeates into your interview stories. It contaminates them because you can't get right to the point of the most important point. Okay, so this is another one. All right, now we're going to get into some of the deeper ones. Who's loving this so far? Can I get a kick on the like button? That means kick it up. Maybe share this while we're still going live. All right. Now, I would like to tell you that this is probably, I'm going to say, the number 2 pet peeve of recruiters. I'm telling you that not because I think this to be true. I'm telling you this because over a decade of surveys to HR folks and recruiter folks confirm that what I'm about to tell you is true. Number 1 pet peeve of recruiters is functional resumes. Don't do it. Number 2 pet peeve of recruiters is this mistake. You litter your resume with flowery word vomit. Yes, flowery word vomit. That's what we call it. Uh-oh, that resume is filled with word vomit. What is word vomit? It's just like it sounds. A bunch of words thrown on the paper that make it very, very difficult to what? Ascertain what the hell you do and what is actually your bread and butter. And you're burying it around a bunch of words that don't say anything, mean anything, or if they mean something, I don't have the context to make the association that that's what you mean. All right, so what I see a lot of you doing is, let's start on this side of the card. You're very vague. So what does vague mean? Well, the first thing is business executive. I don't know what that is. I develop strategy. I don't know what that is. I run projects. I don't know what that is. I run projects to improve business processes. I still don't know what that is. Right? All the more common words that you're throwing into the resume are actually lifting its what we call fog factor. That's actually a thing, fog index, if those of you that don't know what that is. But, right, you're making it harder for me to read it and harder for me to understand it. So if you are not using adjectives that are very specific, that give me something unique to look at, to give me context of what you do, this makes it very, very hard. The other thing is, a lot of you are trying to trick the applicant trashing system, the ATS, so you're hoping to beat it by, again, littering your resume with flowery word vomit that you mistake for keywords that you think an ATS is going to look at and say, oh, the word strategy is in there umpteen times. This person must really be good at strategy. Except that flowery word vomit will never fool a recruiter, and it will just irritate them. All of this is aimed at you diluting your ability to be seen and understood. So it's not just that the resume is in front of me. I need to understand very quickly, what is it that you do? going back to what we said, what I was saying last week about your bread and butter, building it forward, being able to articulate it on the resume and in the introduction and through your interviewing stories. All of this stuff is connected. None of this stuff is independent. Your job search is one big box, one big black box. You go in, then you come out. It's all connected. So watch the work. How many of you think your resume is filled with what Andy endearingly calls word vomit? Okay, let me know that. All right. Now, number 4, and don't get me wrong, because I'd love to hear your whole story, right? I really would. Except this, now we're getting into probably the most brutal ones. You think that someone cares about every little thing you've done in your life. It's not a work history document. It is not a diary of your work history. If you're not sure if you're this person, anybody who asks me the question or wants me to help them get their resume down from 2 pages in 1 sentence, 3 pages, down to 2, this is you. And even those of you that fill 2 pages in your resume, this is probably still you. And if you're agonizing or this isn't the easiest thing in the world for you to do, this is you. If I could get my pitch down to 26 words, you can get your entire 45-year career down to 2 pages. It's a marketing document. It is not a work history document. All right? So you are putting out stuff because you are thinking inside out. I need to tell somebody what it is that I've done. Because there are so many things that I've done, I want to tell them what I'm all about. You need to think outside in, not inside out. Remember, it's a marketing document. What kind of customers do I want to attract? What are the problems they have? How am I the answer? Okay, I'm gonna get real prescriptive on these last 2. Okay, and so I want you to think in these terms. It's not what can I do? It's what do they need? And how can what I offer satisfy their needs? Okay? This needs to be very, very clear and you need to really, really focus on this, because this is where the way you think about the content and the context of what goes into your resume will completely change. Let's work some stories here. Okay. So what a lot of you do is, but Andy, it was such a down market and the stock market was cratering. And during that time, I spent 100 hours improving this, and I had to walk home and to and from work, uphill both ways, into the wind, when it was always snowing. It was so bad I had to strap the tennis rackets on my shoes to actually make it through. And you want to share all that with me when that doesn't matter to me, right? We don't care about that. I don't have that emotion. I'm not attached to that. That's not what matters to me. But what you did in that project and how you benefited, that would matter to me. Okay? So I want you to think about that. Now, going back to the point I made about wanting to attract the kind of customers. Let me give you an example from me, and then I want to give you an example for you. If I think about everything that I do, and I show up here every Thursday, and every Thursday you see my resume and you interview me, right? And I would like you to hire me, right? Let's just think in these terms. And I think about the customer that I want to attract, so that determines what I'm going to present to you in the form of a resume and an interview stories. Now, let's run through this, and this is what I mean, and this is how I want you to think. Well, I would like to attract individuals who want to better their careers and who want to find a better job or a better company or whatever that is, right? That's item 1. All of you were probably 100 for 100, or however many of you are here. Second thing is who are willing to put in the time to do that. We're probably still 100 for 100 or whatever is there, because you guys are right? You're here and you're putting the effort in, okay? Except that I would like them to pay something and invest in themselves in the form of my programs. Okay, I just knocked 97% of you out, right? Except that I don't want to just have them buy something from me. I want them to invest a lot of money so that I can help them at the deepest level. Now I knocked out 97% of the remaining 3%, right? And then I want them to be very picky about their needs and the kind of job that they select. I want them to perform well. And once they find that job, I want them to what? Continue to have a relationship with me and invest in themselves so I can help them with their career development. And so they can actually invest money so I can help them at a deeper level because they know that I can take them to places that they cannot go by themselves. But it doesn't stop there because even at this point, I still need them to put in the work. Okay, there's 8 things that have to happen for me to hit and attract my ideal customer. Don't get me wrong. I love all of you and in my community, and you can all benefit. Okay, but there's a huge difference between the person that spends $10,000 and the person that spends nothing or $100. And I want you to understand this in terms of how I want you to approach it. Because I like to show up here every week, and you all that do, who I love and I appreciate your attention for doing so, will benefit no matter what. And in the way that I put the talk together, here's the difference between if my goal was to sell a $100 product or a $10,000 product. Here's the difference. If I was going to come here today and tell you we're going to talk about resume bloops and blunders, I'd say, you know what? If my goal was to get them to buy a $100 product so I can help them, take that objective statement off your resume. Watch the periods and the semicolons and the colons. And you know what? When you write a bullet, put an action verb in front. That's good too, right? Those are the kind of tips that I would stress if I was my goal was to attract a person who either didn't want to spend any money or was willing to spend $100. Except that that's not the talk we're going to have today. The talk we're going to have today is about mindset and marketing you so you can get a job that you love and thrive in it. Now, somewhere down the road, somebody's going to stay with me for a number of years. One of you will, right? Except that I know you'll all benefit from this talk. So this is what I put out into the world instead. And there's nothing wrong with career coaches that want to talk to you about periods and semicolons. I just feel like you deserve more, and I'm trying to attract a different kind of customer. Now I want you to think about you. Do you want to attract the $100 customer or company, or do you want to attract the $10,000 company who gets you, who understands, right? Who values what you're going to give, who knows what you have to offer is what they need. And here's how you think about that. What a lot of you do is you say, I want to put down what I've done. And you think from the inside out, and that's what you want to portray. We call that in marketing listing your features. Except that's not what sells. What sells is the transformation. When you think about the company you want, here's the difference. And this goes all the way back to you thinking before you write your resume. Got any marketers out there? All right, any of you marketers. All right, what's a marketer do? I don't care if you're in marketing. I don't care what you do. There's only 3 things a marketer does. It doesn't matter what your job is on the marketing team, and the best marketers do these 3 things. Every company has these 3 problems, and these 3 problems are what they want their marketers to solve. What most marketers would do, and I'm not picking on marketers, I'm trying to help them, and any of you guys, just insert your title here. Right? You think about what you've done, and that's what you want to put on your resume. Instead of asking yourself the questions, what are their problems? Here's what every company's marketing problems are. Marketers do this, number 1, increase brand awareness. Number 1 thing. Andy, when I joined the company, we had 11 followers. And then in 2 years, we had 11 million followers. Awesome. 11 million prospects or whatever, right? Then I'd be interested to know, well, okay, how'd you do that? Because if you just had a pile of money and you just paid for a bunch of ads, at least you increased your prospect list. But if you tell me it was organically done, that's even better. Number 1, brand awareness. But then what? Well, after I get the people that are more aware, I got to turn them into a prospect, right? Maybe get them on my email list, get them in my system, get them to come over to my website or whatever. I built a system. What's the system do? Highlight number 2. The system takes all the people in and lets me look at a bunch of things. Am I getting the right people? Are they the right profile? Are they actually sticking with us? Do they continue to buy? Do they buy anything? Do they continue to buy? All that stuff makes it easier to watch. Awesome, you built that. Highlight number 2. So that what? Highlight number 3. You can increase sales and do what else? And decrease the cost of the sale. Right? So how do I know if you did that? Well, you increased the number of bodies you had that were coming in that you were going to help. You then figured out a way to analyze what was going on. With that analysis, although your first pile of 11 million people, only, 50,000 of them bought something from you, that's not really great, right? Except that by the time you hit me with the third bullet that says, yeah, but the next 11 million, 5 million of them bought because of all the analysis that we did in the second bullet thing that highlight that I have for you, right? And so we made the salesperson's job easier because we were giving them leads that were more likely the buyers that we wanted, that decreased the cost of sale, that increased our revenue, and we did it a lot faster. That's it. Every business has those 3 problems. You marketers, your resume needs to have those 3 highlights. Your resume has those 3 highlights. I won't even look at the professional experience section because I won't need to get that far because I'll be squealing with glee and getting you on the phone or on the Zoom or in my office so fast because you'd have to barf on my shoes for me not to hire you. Okay, so this is what I mean. What is it that they need? Do they get that? Right? Think outside in. That's what determines what you want to present. There's an ideal mixture of 3 for every single one of you. You're an accountant, a salesperson. It makes no difference. An engineer. Whoever you are. What are their problems? You put that out into the world, people will be falling all over themselves to hire you. Okay? So you got to think about that. And where do you do all this? In the top half of the resume. I don't even need to get down to the other stuff. I don't even care. If you could tell me you can do those 3 things. By the way, for any of you marketers out there, you now have my job description because if you can do those 3 things, you can boss hunt me and say, Andy, I was on your live show where you getting all amped up about what a marketer needs to do, and I do that. Okay? This is what I'm talking about. Think about the people you want to attract, the companies you want to attract, the ones you want to work for, the ones that get the fact that that's what marketers do. And it doesn't matter where you are in the marketing team. You do something that contributes to one of those 3 things, right? Did you design the white paper that the engine nerd couldn't do because you're the marketing analyst and you know what goes over well with people who are going to take it? Great. You're increasing leads. You're increasing brand awareness, right? You're presenting it in a manner where people who are more likely to buy from you are going to take it. Everybody in the daisy chain does this, okay? So think about what it is that, right? Think about, we don't care about this. We care about this, right? What is it that they need and what have I done? So somebody was asking me, I think it was Dane, about I'm not sure if my bullets are powerful enough. It is, the power has to do with the synchronization of whether it aligns to the things that they need. If you are having a very hard time distilling down what it is that you do, you're going to have a very hard time connecting how the bullets and the projects that you've done meet the problems and solve the problems that they have, right? Because all you're going to do is get in the interview and confirm how you're the answer. All right? So think about that. All right, now I saved probably, well, that might have been my favorite, but I think I might have saved my favorite for last. All right, wait. Who's tracking with me right now? Throw me some stuff in the chat. I want to keep my cards in order for the recap. Got my marketing machine. Can you guys see that? Got my marketing machine funnel. All right. Before I give you this card, okay? I'm gonna give this to you. We're gonna do a little. I don't call it a role play or whatever you want. Okay. Can you tell? Go in the chat after I go through my little thing here, and you tell me what the issue is. My name's Andy. I'm a career coach. I coach people, right? I coach them. And, man, I spent years building a system. Yeah, it's a job searching system, but you know what? I'm really proud of the fact that I built this platform on a software product called Kajabi, and I spent thousands of hours putting up web pages and building the product, and I make some videos for them, and I give them coaching sessions every month, and every morning when I wake up after I have my 8th cup of coffee and I get into the system, and I type them some responses to their questions. It's called customer service. And I even do some free webinars and video series. I expect a salary of $1,000 an hour. Do you want to hire me? Okay, that's what your resumes look like. That's what most people's resumes look like. And you get where I'm going with this, right? You get where who understands that problem? And I alluded to it before about you're trying to sell yourself based on features that have absolutely nothing to do with anything. You don't know if I'm any good at any of that stuff. You don't know what happened. As opposed to, there was this woman, her name was Sue. She was really struggling. She searched for months and months and months and couldn't find a job. And let me show you Sue's victory email about how she got a job in 2 weeks, doubled her pay, and so on and so forth after she went through my program. Andy, that's awesome. How did you do that? What's inside your program? Right? It's the transformation back to how you did what you did. Now they're going to ask me what? How'd you make that happen for her? Where did you get that experience? Tell me how you did that. Right? And so would any of you scrolling on your Insta Flash, right, zipping by the pictures, and somebody selling their health services or their bodybuilding services or their training services, and when they say, this was me in 2021, this is me, right, in 2022, and you're like, damn, well, I gotta look at that, right? 1 second. They got you, right? They at least got you looking, right? And so now it's up to them to explain to you how it'll benefit you. Not all the years of studying and getting a master's in whatever, dietary this or that, and kinesiology that, this and that, right? No one cares. I don't care about that. Tell me how you went from there to there, right? How did that person achieve that? So you guys are all about the activities. Yeah, I do all those things I said to you. You see me for an hour each week. Do you have any idea the 99 other hours that go into making this happen? Right? Instead of the benefits and the transformation. What are these? Right? So I want you to think about this. What do I do? Andy, that all sounds great. Can you break it down for me? Activities or housekeeping? Here's housekeeping. Let's go back to me. Housekeeping. I'm a career coach with X years of experience. I have sold 17 different types of training products that cover this and that and the other thing. There's 58,000 paying customers in my programs from 192 countries in the world. That is housekeeping, housekeeping, housekeeping. All that tells the employer is, oh, he sells a lot of stuff. Okay, that's great. You gave me an order of magnitude. Order of magnitude, fine. I manage the customer service team and everything that goes along with it, and the 27 people that answer all the phones in the 15 locations that they sit. Right? Kind of housekeeping, okay? Then, what are the bullets? What are the bullets reserved for? The Great 8. How many of you go to the Andy School of Resume Writing? What are the Great 8? What are the bullets? The highlights in your resume and the professional experience bullets made of. 8 points. Revenue generation. Market awareness. right? Customer attraction, customer happiness, employee happiness, company growth, cost reduction, or process efficiency. If your bullet does not cover one of those 8 things, take the bullet off or dump it into the housekeeping area. Okay, if you don't know what the housekeeping area, all you need to do is take that free resume template that Stacy so nicely put in the chat for you. Okay, and then if you're wondering what the acid test is, when you write the bullet to show the benefits, what happened as a result of me doing what I did? If you have not answered that, your bullet is incomplete. And actually, the what happened part goes first. I raised revenue. I reduced cost. I increased prospects, right? I eliminated X% of. Okay, those are the grade 8. So every employer, every single person, employee that works for every single employer of all time does one of those 8 things or contributes to one of those 8 things that may occur downstream. But that's your focal point. And then what happened as a result of me doing what I did is what you want to ask yourself. All right, now, if you do these things, you will have a marketing document, not a resume document. Now, I want to cap this up I got a couple other things. All right, number 1, get the story in sync. What I want with who I am, with what I offer, and evidence of the fact all sits on the same plane, all continuous. Second thing, you got to do it quickly. Third thing, no flowery word vomit, please. You don't need to put everything out there. You want to think outside in, not inside out, and you want to show benefits, not activities, okay? It's okay to list activities for context. All right, now, if you're looking for more help with this, there's a couple places you can go. I've got a couple videos, free videos in live streams that we just did in the last couple weeks. Now, I don't know when you're watching this, and we might have clipped this out, and it might be, a month from the actual live show or a month or 2, but how to find your job faster in 2022, the #1 job search mistake, that live stream. And if you are interested in my job search coaching program, the last 2 sessions, we did resume writing hot seats where we pulled the person up, we pulled their resume up, we talked to them, we looked at what was in their resume. I showed them how to sync this all up, and I explained to them the issues that they would have as they were going into the interviews. We did a couple dozen of these, so you got a lot of data. That was March's session and April's session. And what's coming up in May, I don't know if you're watching this, and boot campers, I guess this is a heads up for you. I'm going to teach you how to introduce yourself. This is not the tell me about yourself, but it is the lead-in to all of that. And so we're going to do the same kind of thing. We're going to kind of hot seat with the resume. We'll get the person up. We'll talk to them. And then I will actually introduce them to themselves. So it should be a lot of fun. If you're interested, let me know. You can check out the program or support at milewalk.com. Any which way, if you got value out of this, make sure to smash the like button. I hope you're subscribed to the channel. If you're here with me live, we're going to the chat right now. If you're not, I'll see you next week. Have a great one. Really love that, folks. I really did. I hope you enjoyed it. I really do. All right, so let me see. I got a couple quick announcements. Make sure that you grab the resume template. That'll really help you with your resume writing. If you are in the resume writing, if you're in the resume writing workshop or the boot camp or all that other stuff, you get a lot more in the way of a content builder, and the thing practically writes itself. So if you're interested in that, let me know. I have a productivity mini series that is coming out. It's free. May 2nd, I think it is. May 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. You're going to get about 20-minute videos each day and an email lesson. And then on Thursday, May 5th, we're having a live Zoom session. It's free. You can register to come. And I'm going to teach more about productivity, some of my favorite tips. I'm also going to Going to give you my leadership assessment. That's free. And then on Friday, there's a premium session. Actually, my leaders voted on the subject this month, May 6th, on email management. But the first 4 days are free. It is a good idea to register for the event because I'd like you to come to the Zoom session because I'm giving away stuff in the Zoom room, and that's where I'm taking the questions that day. We will have the YouTube channel also set up because the Zoom room is limited, which means the gifts are going to be, and the prizes and being eligible is going to be limited. So you want to show up early, but please do register because we got all kinds of goodies for you. Okay, and Kara is D-City about the flowery stuff. Said Jobscan forces you to add flowery stuff. Flowery stuff, I don't have an issue with the words themselves. It's the context that you include with the words that gives the flowery stuff power and context. And Jobscan, folks, I got news for you. Jobscan is not the be-all, end-all, okay? One run through it, take a look, low-hanging fruit, edit, and go. Don't agonize over Jobscan. Jobscan is a tool, and most of you should be boss hunting, targeting teammates, targeting recruiters directly, and so on. If you've got the appropriate definitions of what you do, trust me, the human will find it. Okay? So don't worry about that. Really, honest to God. All right, so I hope you guys are enjoying this. What do we got here? We got a bunch of people. This is great. Okay, I got an email. You guys, you need to know we read the emails that you send us. And was it Jefferson or what was the person's name? Kara, give me I can't remember. We got a number of them. Can you tell me the person's name so that I can give them a shout out for this? It was a great question, and I responded to the person and said, I will take care of that at live office hours because I think it's a great one. And the question was, how does a person become a $90,000 to $100,000 person? But that's not the part of the question that I want to focus on. The part of the question that I thought was awesome, because the 90 to 100 is about hard work, perseverance, putting the effort in, working on the skills, and the how to get there. I would point you to my leadership skill building roadmap, which is free. Actually, Stacy, can you drop the leadership skill building roadmap, the 35-page free booklet in the chat? That's how you get to be a 90 to 100. But the question that I really thought was awesome, Jefferson. Okay, the part of the question that I really thought was awesome was, if you interviewed someone, coach, how would you know right away by speaking with the person if that person is a 90 or 100K employee? And here's the difference in the 90 to 100 or 90 and 100K employee to those that make half that much or a lot less. You've probably heard me say that people pay more for systems, right? If I tell you that I have an entire job search system to help you go from finding yourself all the way to finding the right job and everything that goes on in between, from finding yourself and all your requirements to putting your marketing material together, right, to submitting and bringing yourself to market, to interviewing, to salary negotiation, to crushing it, and so on and so forth, you would pay more for that. Then let me show you how to write a resume bullet. You pay less for that. That's a point solution. And one of the things that you can tell right away when you speak to somebody is their understanding of not only how things are connected, but how outside influences and internal influences are going to affect their ability to get the solution done. So the $100,000 person talks to me in a playbook. They say step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. Oh, by the way, when you get to step 4, you're going to encounter this challenge. I know that because I'm either a smart person and I expect it and that's likely what would happen, or I've experienced it before and it did happen, or whatever. Or these are things that I can't count on and they're a risk, and so I'm going to accommodate for it or account for it or try to mitigate it, or I have a contingency plan for it. There's that element, and the $100,000 person should be thinking forward, meaning they're anticipating the issues that are going to occur. And they can, when they're telling stories, they can talk to me about how they saw it in advance of it happening and what they did in order to mitigate it or accommodate for it or lead somebody through it or whatever. These are very, very common ways of being able to tell whether somebody has that level of experience. So the person who doesn't earn as much or isn't as experienced in their, when I started working as a consultant, I would look at, okay, well, what is it that I need to do? You need me to develop this software. This software does what? It handles a function related to purchasing of this thing. Okay, where does that information come from? Where vendors, this and that, okay. And then you start looking at the business stuff that's happening outside of that. Why did that occur? What happens if? What happens next? Right? There's an element of, it's not about like curiosity. It's about command and understanding that these things are all tied together. The lower level person can't see all that. They just don't have enough experience. That's okay. They're young, right? I didn't know it when I walked out of school, right? This is a lot of years. This is a lot of years of experience, and it's not just a lot of years of experience, and anybody who grows and people who get to 100K faster and stay there, okay? That isn't just about number of years of experience. It's not about the age. It's about the mileage. My one day of work is 2 weeks for some people, okay? My 1 week of work is 3 months for some people, or what you learn. And so people who spend a lot of time at a particular level are usually doing the same job over and over and over and over and over again. They got one day or one project they're living 100 times. You're not going to pay more for that. That person's a one-trick pony, right? Singular. I want the person, right? I'll pay more if I get more. In order to get more, you have to know more and be able to produce more. So think about that. That's a great, great question. And any of you that want to up that game, I have a whole leadership program for that. But I hope, Stacy did drop by the way, Stacy, make sure you use the words productivity in minicamp. We have many mini camps. The minicamp that we're talking about right now is a productivity minicamp, folks. It's really cool. Harold, Neil, you are amazing. I used your resume template and got a job making twice what I was. I'm interviewing for a job that is twice that new salary. Can we give Harold a huge shout out? I love this stuff. Wait, can I get to Harold, Neil? Harold, hang on. I want to see you, buddy. Oh, man. You are amazing. I used your resume template, got a job making twice what I was, and now I'm on my way to twice more. I love it. Can we give him a huge shout out? I really appreciate you guys letting me know that. I live for this stuff, by the way. Somebody inboxed me on LinkedIn and said, Andy, you probably get this a lot, but I want to tell you I was really struggling. I found you all of a sudden like magic, new job. Thank you. I replied right back to him and said, that never gets old. And you are all unique. So it's not every time I get a message, I reset me, meaning this is a new person who is sharing their journey with me. It never gets old. It really doesn't. I want to hear them. I want to hear them all. What is this? Nizevik's essay. Wish I knew what your name was, my boot camper. Hardest thing is remembering exact dates. If we don't remember, should we put those closest rounded number? Yes, and it's a free item, although yours is a little bit more robust. I have a career achievements journal. Maybe we could drop that in the chat. That's how you remember. It's the 14 most important elements for you to capture related to your story, your project, so that you can feed your resume and feed your internal resume. Okay, so that's something to grab. Kevin Leroy, I know we should tailor our resume to the posting, but how much? I always have a hard time with wording my accomplishments, let alone getting them to match the post. Yes, you are a boot camper, my man. Look, it's think in terms, like what I said about the marketer, right? Kevin, you're an IT guy. In what you do, what are the 3 most important things? Get those to the highlights. Then look at a job description. Are they calling for those? If they are, don't sweat it. And most of the time, it's not just what's in the resume, but the tactic by which you get the resume in front of the person, the boss hunting and so on. Don't struggle. Try to match it. Look for some of the keywords. Don't sweat it. Run it through Jobscan. Don't sweat it. Pick the low-hanging fruit. Make the obvious changes and go. Okay, wait. I wish I had Kara's coffee mug. Has anybody seen my coffee mugs and where I've got, consistency trumps talent or consistency beats talent, and I've used the rock, paper, scissors design? If you haven't, it's a really cool coffee mug. But I would say to you, Kevin, consistency in circulating your resume, meaning the top portion of the funnel, resumes. I know you guys can barely see this. If you're consistently sending your resume out, that's going to supersede all the other little things. Okay, this just popped into my head. There are YouTubers that are out there. This is the exact analogy you guys are going through, okay? There are YouTubers that are out there. There's nothing wrong with this if they want to spend their time doing this. That agonize, triangulate, pay for tools, for keywords, to know how to optimally title their video so that, based on statistics and this and that, it is more likely to be seen. And the search engine is more likely to feed it up to you if you're looking. Okay? The Jobscan version, so to speak. And I spent exactly 0.5 seconds telling Stacy, and I used my phone to tell her what I want the title of this video to be when we publish it a month or 2 from now on our YouTube channel. I'm not spending any time looking at, should I have called it something different, right? 5 ways to turn your resume into a marketing document. Just go with that, okay? Because you know what? The people who need to find it will find it. And you know what? If I don't get all the subscribers or whatever, that's fine. I'm not going to be spending my time worrying about that. I'm going to be putting together a really great talk and bringing it to you and writing you and pouring out my messages through my emails and all that, because that's where I want to spend the time, because that's what deepens the relationship. So for you, Kevin, it's the same thing with you guys. You guys are agonizing over Jobscan. Yes, I recommend it. It's fine. It's fine with a lowercase f-i-n-e. It's not even that great, but it's a good tool. Take a shot. It'll catch the low-hanging fruit and then go, right? I would rather you be spending 10 times the amount of time finding bosses to send that resume to. It works. It works better. High value acts. All right. The Egyptian conqueror. How does this work for a new grad? Someone with not much experience. Tell you what, I'm going to give you one for free right now. All right, so I don't know what you do, Egyptian conqueror, but if I'm getting out of school and I'm an engineer or I'm whatever, I want to help improve processes or whatever, I'm looking at a job description. Does, organizational skills matter? That it's not, I have organizational skills. It's, how do you organize something? What did you organize? And then you want to think through the benefit of the organization. And then when you look at the way you're going to tell your story, because organizational skills and a recent college grad are going to be just an example of something that this employer is looking for, because they know that people who are organized when they're 22 are going to be able to be good analysts or good engineers or good this or that or whatever it is. And so when you get into the interview, you talk in terms of what? A playbook, a system. Every one of you can benefit from what I'm about to say. Career changers too, but anybody. If you get something like, tell me about a time when you organized something, that would be construed as a wide open behavioral interviewing question. And for a new college graduate, I don't mind the question because they don't have a lot of experience to draw on, so you want to just see how they think on their feet. But I would say the system of organization is this. That's a great question. I organized this project where, whatever the project was, and I organized it like I organize any project I need to organize, or if there's chaos and need to bring order to it. And by that I mean, okay, right, so I have a system for how I do this. The first thing that you do in any organization project, this one included, was you inventory all the things you got to get in order. Then you have some kind of priority or sequencing in which you're going to address them based on the priorities. Then you address them. Then you implement, right? Like you just go through, right? Like that's it. And so it's a step by step. And so you inventoried it, you labeled it according to these priorities. That's step 2. Step 3 was then you prioritized it and you assembled them into the groups. The 4th thing that you did was you put them on the shelves. The 5th thing that you did was you made sure that everything was facing the right way, and so on. System. 5 steps, 4 steps, whatever it is. And so that's what you're bringing forward. So as a new college graduate, you're looking at, well, what are the skills they're calling for in the job? Self-starter, have a story. Organizational skills, have a story. Good communication skills, have a story, right? Like that's what you're doing. And they're feeding it to you in a job description. That's how you address that. I said this last week. Everything you've ever done in your life can be reverse engineered into a formula. Every week I show up and I give you a formula, right? Every single week there's a formula. Everything I've done, there's a formula. Everything I've yet to turn into a formula can be turned into a formula. Jetta setting travel. My boot camper, what's up? How to highlight relevant experience a bit further back in my 15-year career. Don't want it to be buried on page 2, but my relevant experience, okay, so hold on, but my relevant experience section takes up 3/4 of page 1 of my 3-page resume. Number 1, I'm not even gonna address the 3-part thing. You need to take what matters wherever it is on the resume and move it into the profile and the career highlights. And if you're telling me, because I'm going to go with you on this, how do I highlight my relevant experience? It doesn't matter when that experience was. You talk about it in the way you introduce yourself, and you talk about it in your highlights. And then you trim the hell out of that thing, that other stuff. That's a great question, though. Would you mind also to give examples of how to do it just to catch all the explanation? I'm not entirely sure what you're asking me there. Born on this day. Hi, Andy. Been working at a place for a year. No growth. Applied to a company that I want to be at. They rejected my offer after they requested to speak to my current employer. Is this common? Folks, no current employer should be privy to the fact that you are interviewing with another employer. No, none. If they say, can we contact your current employer? You say, heck yes, after I sign my offer. After we're all done. You can call to verify that I work there or whatever. But that's not common. No, they should not be doing that. And you need to tell them, do not contact them. That is not going to, listen, if you're worried, well, I can't say that they can't contact them. Of course you can. I am discreetly looking. I am doing a confidential job search. I do not want anybody in my organization to know I'm interviewing with you. You got that. Doug Milligan, my good man, how are you? I had an external recruiter state basically do not contact company about a job in an email. I know they are trying to prevent shortcutting, but is it okay to send a thank you note to the interviewers? Hold on a second. The executive recruiter was probably saying, do not contact the company about a job after I've spoken with you that this is my client and I would like to present you there. Okay, so that's what they're talking about. When you get into the interview process and you are interviewing, that executive recruiter should be preparing you for every interview. Like you should have a full-fledged prep session. You go in, you interview, then immediately before your butt gets into your car, you're calling that person and saying, okay, I'm out. Here's how it went. Here's what you need to know. Here's how I'm feeling about it. Here's the things I'm concerned about, blah, blah, blah. I want to send everybody a thank you note. I'm going to send it. I'll copy you and the internal recruiter on it. That's it. And then you forward all the, you send the emails direct to the interviewers and you copy the executive recruiter and you copy the internal recruiter or the HR person or whoever is quarterbacking your process, because that gets dropped in the executive recruiter system. It gets dropped in the internal HR database so that they can keep track of all that stuff. Okay? If you're missing something and you didn't check a box and you didn't send the thank you, that's not good. And you should send it directly. Don't send it to the executive recruiter. Laura O'Brien, my beloved boot camper, I completed various certifications to increase skill sets for the job I want. Does that go at the top or end near education? Will they read that far in the education to see it? Laura, it goes in both spots. Hold on, let me be really clear. When you get a certification, and now you said various certifications, do not put various certifications in your career profile. Certifications, pick the ones, the one or two that matter the most. When you go through your career profile, paragraph 1 is your intro. Paragraph 2 is just for the cheap seats, the list of the business functions and core competencies that you know or technical skills that are appropriate. And the catch-all paragraph in the event there's something that enhances your marketability. So what do I mean? At the end of the second paragraph, you can put additionally certified in, boom, and boom. At the bottom in the education, you put certifications and then list them all. Okay, 2 times, it's okay. Some are gonna be mentioned twice, don't worry. It's a marketing document. Multilingual, proficient in English, Spanish, Hungarian, Japanese, conversational in German, whatever, and so on. That's an additional because it might help. If you recently are getting an MBA or an MS or a PhD or whatever, educational credentials include PhD in whatever target date of. Up at the top in the career profile, second paragraph, last sentence. Go get them. RRD, what's up? I am updating my job titles to better reflect my roles. I hope that hot seat helped. What factors affect how to choose an appropriately favorable title? Specifically, if head of department at old job, then head of department of a subsidiary company at new job, how would you label those? I don't even know. I don't even care. Lead whatever. Call it whatever you want. I pay no attention to that stuff. Head of department. So you headed what? Lead of what? Context. Head of department doesn't tell me anything. Lead whatever might tell me something. If you want to stick true to your title of what it actually is, that's okay too. But you neutralize and you basically, how do I want to say it? You want to put us on the common vocabulary by going into, meaning an understanding, by putting it in the description. And you don't need to restate it as head of department, I did this. Managed all blah, 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 blah in this unit. That's what goes there. It isn't about what's the title and what's more favorable. Your title is your title. You either need to use it or call it something generic that I would understand. Kush Kumar, what's up? Andy, test engineer in IT. Yes, you are. Do I need to mention all skill sets below the summary statement, or can I mention them before extracurriculars? Do I need to mention my goal in my career profile, like as looking for an opportunity in testing domain and so on? I love these questions. Okay, number 1, I'm gonna go backwards. Do you mention your goal in your career profile? No, you imply it. Based on what? Where's my card? Oh, sorry. Damn testy mic. All right. Who I am implies what I want. Okay? I've had situations with some boot campers over the past few weeks where it was like, hang on, we're trying to ascertain what is it that you do. It's like, oh, okay, so you do this. So like, well, yeah, sort of, but that's not actually the job I want. Okay, we got to change all that then. We got to change the language. We got to change the way or the way we write this, because you're implying. They need to infer. You don't say I'm seeking a role as. If you are a test engineer, I know you're looking for something in a testing domain unless you tell me otherwise, kind of thing. And then you were asking about the skill sets. Another great question. Same kind of thing where I would go back to Laura O'Brien's question where she was asking about, do I put it up top or bottom? I would take, like, if you have testing skills or you have technical language skills or whatever it is that are really germane to what you're doing, or you understand different testing products that may be favorable or in vogue or desirable, you put those way up at the top. But you don't need to give me all 18 skills. If you want, you can go to the bottom and say technical skills and then list them all. That's fine. It's at the bottom. Remember this. When somebody reads your resume, okay, to you guys, this is the left page, right? They read them down the column and then up the second page. So believe me, trust me, they do not read left to right, top to bottom, and then go to the next page and read left to right, top to bottom. Why? Because they assume you're going to have more of the same on the top of the second page. They want to now look at, okay, they're going to go up the page because they're going to look at, okay, do you have a degree? If not, do you have skills? If not, what are your volunteer? Give me something different. And then, okay, let me catch the rest. That's how they read them. No one reads a resume. They're just looking for what they want. That's another thing. Bonus tip. Remember, recruiters are looking for key pieces of information. You can call them keywords if you want. That some hiring official said, I want you to look for this. Go find me a marketer who knows digital marketing, has this in their background, and has worked at these kind of companies. Okay, recruiter opens the resume, it goes like that. Literally, that's what they do. Does the person have the thing that my hiring official asked me to find? And you're trying to write all your stuff thinking I'm reading that? No, they're looking for, do I have what I need? Okay, let me go back. And that's what happens. They're looking for what they want, not what you want to tell them. So you have to anticipate what's important to them. And then you have to, right? You're gambling all the time. That's what sales is. Love these questions. Bjorn, on this day, hi Andy, applied to a company and they were ready to give me I got all that. Except they needed, I got all that. So wait, Kara, can you just clarify for me? I'm not looking at the chat. And you're giving me questions, and we're rolling, so I just went with it. You just shoved them in my face, and I just went with it. Wait, if you guys are loving this, can you kick up the like button? Can you make sure you're subscribed to the channel? Because it hurts me when you don't get my new videos on Tuesday and my live office hours on Thursday. And who subscribed to the podcast that comes out every Tuesday and every Friday at 7 a.m. And can I get a shout out for my friends in Italy, Slovakia, Spain, Ireland, South Africa? You guys are keeping my podcast in the top 10 in business and in careers. I love you people. But where's my American friends here who should be helping me? All right, I think you actually, Stacy, can we drop the podcast link? Actually, can we just switch out the resume template and put the podcast link in the pin? And if you guys have not seen the podcast page that we have a quick clicker to like 8 or 10 of very common platforms, but the podcast is everywhere. So let's do that. Let's take the resume out. Let's get people on the podcast. I'll shoot some good stuff for that. All right, C. Fitzhugh, going back into healthcare skills from the 80s to 90s. I don't have dates on the resume, but it's part of my skill set. In an interview, I explain my healthcare experience. Is it okay? Yes, final answer. Love it. Sue, hi Andy. I've taken 2 pro bono lead assignments for an organization to keep current while taking off for the family. Results, impacts, accomplishments are strong. I love this so far. In the resume interview, how to handle the pro bono. You don't. No, you do not mention it. If yes, how do I mention it without minimizing my impact? You do not need to tell them that. If it's legit, you do this, you do the work. If it's like, and if it's like, you know, you're doing it 20 hours a week, I don't care. It's what I'm doing. I work and I take care of the family. Kiefer, got some really bad job gaps on the resume. It's hindering me and I'm getting desperate. Time to lie. You never lie. Never lie. Never lie. Ever. Number 1, it's just bad. Number 2, that stuff stays with you, man. It's just bad energy. It just is. You are better off trying to figure out a way to articulate what was happening in the least damaging way. It's better for you to say, I had some gaps. You know what? I wasn't crystal clear on what I wanted. I was just taking any job. I'm in a different place now. Like, I would rather you own it. Or just make sure that, and make sure that you are overcoming your challenge by being consistent in the way you're bringing yourself to the market. Consistency will beat out talent, and consistency will help you overcome some of these issues. Let's see. And then C. Fondizi, I don't know what that is, but that's you. What about if you have gaps in your working experience? That's okay. The gaps are the gaps. Just keep them in the, just leave them. Freya Vanoy, I was asked by my boss to read and revise my job description with the implication that I bring more value skills to the table than she thought. Do you have advice? How should I go about that? So there's a couple things you can do. And not to be funny, if first off, I think you should stretch yourself, meaning get in there and go for it. And ask yourself questions. How would I make this happen? Not, oh my God, I'm worried that I'm not going to make it happen. We had actually, I don't know if she's here, and I really hope she watches what I'm about to say because this really cracked me up. I had a session with one of my boot campers, and we completely took away the way she was articulating her responses, and I showed her how I wanted her to articulate the response. She gets out of the interview, and she emails me and says, oh my God, I blew them away. It went so well. Now I'm so frightened because I think I oversold myself based on what you told me to say. I'm going to need you to help me when I get in this role, which is fine. I would rather you do that. Listen, she articulated her thoughts, what she was thinking, and backed it up with some of her experience. I completely refocused the way she took them through it, the point she made, the way she hit it in the story, and the topics. She was here at the level. She was being hired to do something up here, and this pays more, which means this person has to come with more. And you don't want to have this conversation down here. You want to have the conversation here at this level, and here's how you do that. That's what happened. And so, believe me, you will be able to figure this out. Write your job description, figure out what you want to make happen as a company, as a team, and as an individual, and then you figure out, what do I need to make that happen? And then you go and you learn it. Geraldine, could you share at what time will be the productivity challenge? Yes, that's a lot in a something. So here's how the productivity challenge works. And Geraldine, because I love you with all of my heart, and you have Andy's undying love, it's undying for you. And all my lifetime leaders, and really anybody who's in my paid programs, and even anybody who's in my community. The mini camp is a video series, and you, Geraldine, have the full productivity challenge. These are 20-minute clips from key lessons and email lessons that go along, and they're videos. So you'll be able to watch them at your leisure. On Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm releasing one each day. And you can roll through it at your convenience. They're 20 minutes, and then they're 20, 22 minutes, something like that. And then on Thursday, we're going to have a Zoom session and anybody's welcome to come to the Zoom session. You just need to register so we can give you the link. And that's at 11 o'clock in the live office hour slot on May 5th. And then Geraldine, our normal leadership monthly session is on May 6th at 11. I think that one's at 11 a.m. as well, Central. And so you can watch that, and you actually have access to the full program, the paid program. Let's see, Usman. Hi, Andy. I'm in the third round of my interview process for corporate recruiter position. I love it. Any advice on negotiating the salary? Since at this point, I did give them a figure. They told me the cap of it. I would ignore all that stuff, and I would make my argument. And one thing that I would certainly suggest to you, I don't know by that YouTube handle if you're in my boot camp, if you're in my job search boot camp, the job search coaching program that is now called, you have all the negotiation stuff. If you are not, the salary negotiation playlist. And one other mention is May 12th. We are going to do a salary negotiation during case study during live office hours. So I know that's a little bit out there, but that's something you guys can look forward to. O'Neill, hey Andy, if I have been referred for a position, should I approach the boss with the boss hunting letter? No, go with the referral, always. The referral supersedes. Alina, was Alina again? Oh, maybe that's Alina. Alina Usman, I said that's fine because I'm earning low, but looks like they can pay me more. Any advice? Same kind of thing there. Laura O'Brien, for Jobscan, do you just use the low-hanging feedback and or also target a minimum score? I would not, listen, do not agonize over those scores, right? Y'all are worried about a lot of stuff that you shouldn't be worrying about. And I'm not saying you, Laura, I'm just saying everybody, because I get this a lot. Andy, oh my God, I can't get 80%. Who cares? Go, use the tool, look, see what you can, change it and go. Got 43%? I don't care. Go. Don't worry about it. 1093 O'Neill. Hey, Andy, can you mention the web where we can scan a resume with the job description? Jobscan. Actually, Stacy, can you throw the Andy's referral link? By the way, they give me like a couple bucks. If you can use it free for a month, and then if you decide to pay, I think they give me a referral fee. I don't even pay attention. Gavin, as a hiring manager actively recruiting and as a candidate, there is a disconnect between what the recruiters think is good and the hiring managers looking for. True. How do you bridge this gap? Okay. I freaking love this question, man. I really do. Gavin, I appreciate you serving this up. Actually, I'm gonna go find that. Hang on. All right, Gavin, this is great. So, for any of you that are hirers and then you got recruiters, you have to give the recruiter your eye. Okay, so that means you got to take the time to explain to them what they're looking for, and you need to preload the issues they're going to face. If you do not take the time to educate them on this, that's on you, not them. The recruiter doesn't do your job. The recruiter's trying to help you and filter candidates to go in and work on your team, but they don't have your eye. So you need to give them your eye as best you can. So what you need to do is you need to give them the most important criteria, and you need to draw the lines on the filters. I need somebody who's got technical sales, first line. Second line, if they have CRM, SaaS, that's better. If they don't have CRM, SaaS, then do they have something related to customer experience, this or that? If they don't have that, do they have anything related to service-oriented stuff? Have they used these products, these techniques, these sales methodologies? You need to give them all that stuff. Then what you need to do is Okay, first thing. Second thing, go spend a whole day, give me the best resumes you think. Let's sit down again. And then what do? You recalibrate and you explain more with live targets. And you do this until that person knows what you're looking for. Most of the time, what I have found is wrong with a recruiter's ability to find the right people is the hiring official's lack of effort in educating and spending the appropriate time. That's truly what I see. And that is not just an off-the-cuff opinion. That is multiple decades of doing this stuff and working with recruiters and companies who interact with their hiring officials and us working with them too. So that's what I find is most lacking. Mark, what's up, my boot camper? Will companies show any flexibility on starting benefits earlier? Is that all fixed in contracts with their insurance providers? Usually, that's dependent on company policy as opposed to insurer's policy. The insurers don't care, right? You're in, you're out. You're on the plan, you're not. So I think what most employers are doing is they're trying to, if there's a delay, they're just trying to slow roll it to make sure you work out. I don't, and by the way, I am not, a certified SHRM person or anything of that nature, but that's what I have found with all the companies that I worked with. We were always able to change that. It's like, oh, well, you don't get, you need to start on such and such a date in order to have your benefits kick in on this date. And we could always jimmy rig it, which leads me to believe. Okay, how are we doing on time? I still got 9 more. All right. Stephen Elliott, what's up? Recruiter requests I send thank you note to them for forwarding. It's not common. It's control freakish. Go ahead and do that. It's okay. It is what it is. Han Yin, what's up, buddy? How do you show off your credentials, certification credentials in your resume? I answered that one earlier. Do you need to include brief description of the industrial certification? You do not. Pull out the mega ones that you're most relevant to the job you're pursuing. Put those up at the top and then repeat them toward the bottom. Elian, how you doing? Hey, Andy, if I'm a project manager and apply for a product manager role, in addition to highlight my relevant skills, what role do I put overall at the top? Product manager or project manager? Okay. You are one or the other as your bread and butter. If you are a project manager, you are a project manager. If you put product manager at the top, I'm going to look at your resume like you're a product manager, and I'm going to quickly discover that you don't have the experience. Now, if you've done both, then what I would do is I would say product manager with X years of experience, so on and so forth, what you did, and then additionally, project management experience, and then what you did. Secondary. It's not great, and I would be doing a lot of networking to make sure that the messaging that I had was what was being seen first, and how they were thinking of you. Calv, want them to know I am the person for the job. Thank you letter and 90-day plan was sent after meeting. Advice. It's too generic. I don't know what I would tell you, but all the interviewing stuff that I have is what ultimately tells them, meaning all the interviewing videos I've shared with you on my YouTube channel are what ultimately tells them if you're the right person for the job. Ron Clark, here's a fun one. Finished 1.5 years of a BS in system administration before the college closed their doors. Should I include the college on my resume? Thanks. Yes. You talk about, college credits, achieved 25% of, or whatever it was, however many college credits. You can even talk in terms of credit related to what it is. Alina Usman, I think it is. I'm assuming it's Andy. Thank you very much for answering my. You are so welcome. I wanted to let you know that I got to this job watching your videos, and I would love to sign up for your boot camp and podcast. Well, first off, the podcast is free. The boot camp costs money, and we would love to have you. And if you already got a job, if you're in a job you love, get into my leadership program. That's less expensive, and it's it depends how long you stay, but that's a great way to try out some of that other stuff. Steve F., can you reiterate the way to use Jobscan for new people? I'm assuming you mean for people who are new to me. Jobscan is a tool that allows you to compare the resume that you have with a job description that you point the tool to, or you paste the job description in. And what it'll do is it will give you some general recommendations and some, meaning the way your resume is formatted, and it'll say, you know, don't use tables and don't do this because these are bad things to do. Or based on the link you gave us, the applicant trashing system that you're going to be submitting your resume to favors these things. Don't do this, do that instead, kind of thing. And you don't have enough of this or that. And in its assessment, maybe your keywords aren't plentiful enough or whatever. So that's what the tool does. It's very simple to use. It is somewhat effective. I would just not sweat this stuff. I really would not. And then you basically plop in your resume and you plop in a copy of the job description, or you pop in a link to the job description. And by the way, the link to the job description oftentimes has inside the link, embedded in the link, the actual applicant trashing system platform that it's using. That's how Jobscan can tell, because you can see, is it Taleo, is it whatever. Gavin Cutting follow-up. How do you address the situation from the candidate side? Recruiter thinks you're awesome, but the hiring manager doesn't. That's a great question. If the hiring manager doesn't think you're awesome, first thing is you want to preempt this stuff. So if you talk to the recruiter, what is the hiring official going to be most interested? What resonates best with them? Where have, you know, underperformers lacked? What are they looking for in their best, you know, like get all that info up front. By the way, I'm a side note here because this cracks me up. I see these every day on my YouTube channel. Andy, you're telling me to ask these questions. These would make most recruiters uncomfortable. I'm going to say that let's say, I don't know, 18 years of high velocity recruiting, working with recruiters, would know more about what makes them uncomfortable than your once in a blue moon job search, right? You don't get the information because you don't ask for it, okay? So ask up front. If the recruiter sends you to the hiring official, what does that tell you? I want you to get the job. Or I'm not sure I'm going to let them sort that out, but you know what? What happens if the hiring official doesn't like you? I look bad, right? When the hiring official sends you to their vice president or capo de capo or whoever, you ask them, I don't want to lay an egg for you. What does that person want to know? What is that person going to be most interested in? What's that interview going to be like? What kind of questions are they going to ask me? I would tell you. I would prep you if I sent you on to my boss, right? So you got to start thinking that the recruiter's your friend. Okay, that's first thing. Second thing is, when you get to the hiring official, there could be a million reasons that the hiring official doesn't like you. It could be related to the misalignment of the skill set. That's not usually the reason. Okay, it isn't. Recruiters generally enough have a good idea. And even in situations where they don't, if the hiring official should go to the recruiter and say, okay, hang on, these are some of my concerns. Did you check these? No? Go check again. Call the person back before I talk to them, kind of thing. Or, now that you mention it, but here's why I think that person's okay and this and that. That you should be having dialogue about this. So, okay, I got 2 minutes left. Here you go. Grab the resume template. Get in the productivity mini-series. You can watch it at your leisure. Well, I have a schedule for you, and then we meet on Thursday, May 5th. May 12th, make sure to show up to live office hours because I've got a special. May 13th, I have a boot camp, private boot camp, where I'm going to introduce my boot campers to themselves. That should be a whole silliness, bunch of fun. But anyway, if you need anything and you can't figure it out, support@milewalk.com gets you to Kara, and she knows everything. She knows more than I do about everything. I hope you guys love this. I had a ton of fun. I hope you got value out of this. I don't want to show up here with like spell check your resume pointers, okay? You deserve more. You need more to get the job you want. So I wish you guys a lot of luck. I will see you next week, I think. I don't know. I'll see you next week. But I think next week we're probably going to spend the entire time answering your questions. So get online early and then wish my mom, happy Thursday, and yell to my dad, who's probably, like I said, in the kitchen. Oh, he's probably got dinner. Dinner's probably all ready to go by 12:30. So, all right, you guys and gals, I love you all. I really appreciate you being part of my community. You guys be good. Have a great weekend.